अधिकमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति।
Chapter 1, verses 20 to 25.
व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाहमहीपते। अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान्निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन्गणसमुद्यमे योत्स्यमानानवक्षेष्येऽहं य एतत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेः युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः। सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशः गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम् भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति।
There is a question. It is said that when Krishna asks Pandavas regarding the war, Draupadi and all Pandavas except Sahadeva wanted the war. When Krishna asks Sahadeva, he says, Krishna, you had decided to go for war. If you want war, could it be stopped? Krishna asks Sahadeva, what should be done to stop the war? Sahadeva says, Draupadi's head has to be unshod. Arjuna has to be killed. Karna must be made the emperor. Sahadeva also told him that he must be tied down. Krishna smiles and goes away. Now the question. I request you to inform us. 1. Why Krishna wanted war? Number 2. If Sahadeva has so much knowledge, why Sahadeva was not able to make the last journey? Rajshekhar. It is wrong to say Krishna wanted war. He didn't. He never wanted the war. The Pandavas and the Kauravas wanted the war. Because both were fighting for the kingdom. So Krishna didn't want the war. The only thing that Krishna was saying is, if you want the kingdom, the only way that you can get the kingdom is you have to fight. Because Kauravas are not going to give it away. Therefore, you have to fight and get the kingdom. And this incident that is narrated from the Mahabharata. This incident that you are quoting happens when somebody has to go and talk peace. as a last attempt, somebody from the sides will go on top, peace to avoid the war. So they were deciding who to go. And finally they decided, let Krishna go. So when he was going to argue for peace, he asked every member, the Pandavas and the Draupadi, he asked. When everyone said, I don't want peace, we want the war. When it comes to Sahadeva said, whatever you said, it is quoted. Whatever you said, this is what it seems Sahadeva has said. And what Sahadeva says is correct, no. The only way to stop the war is for them to, the only way to stop the war is by the Pandavas submitting to Kauravas and say that we will be your slaves for the rest of our life. We will be your slaves. Better to fight and get killed rather than being a slave in the name of peace. Better to fight and get killed rather than being a slave in the name of peace. That peace of a slave is not peace. Slave is also, there is no peace, because wherever he goes he will still be stifled, frustrated. Because if one has to become a slave, what is necessary? If one has to become a slave, he should have been free first. Only a free man can be made into a slave. A person who is not free, who has no concept of freedom, can never be made into a slave. And the person who has had some taste of freedom, somewhere down the line he will rebel against. Somewhere down the line he is going to rebel. You follow what I am saying? Therefore, the way to stop the war is to accept slavery and to be an agitator, to fight for freedom is worse than living a slave. It's a very ordinary morals. It is a very pretty ordinary ethics. This is not something very philosophical. It's a very ordinary way of doing, very pretty ordinary way of doing things. Now when it comes to Krishna smiles and goes away because he asks a question, takes whatever the responses are, and he doesn't give any further response. He smiles and keeps moving. Why he keeps on smiling? He keeps on smiling because either peace or war, he has nothing to do with. He has nothing to do with both. It's not that war he is going to sit and cry, peace is going to be happy. He is smiling because he has nothing to do with both. And as far as Krishna is concerned, forget him. Because he came. Humanity needs to grow to a height to understand Krishna. We have not reached that. We have not reached that height. We have not reached that height to understand Krishna. That is where, how much ever you worship Krishna, in the deepest core you think there is you feel he is not so trustworthy. He is deceitful. He is not so trustworthy. Why? You don't see any consistency. You don't see any consistency in him. And yet, Krishna alone is called Purna Avatar, where all other avatars are something incomplete, including Rama. He is also not called Purna Avatar. Only Krishna is called Purna Avatar. For all practical purposes, Rama looks better than Krishna, because he is so predictable. You will know exactly what he is going to do next. And when it comes to Krishna, you won't know. He is so deceitful. He is so manipulative. It's not deceitful. It's not manipulative. Such a penetrating, aggressive, good intellect is far above the understanding of. That's all it is. It's not that he is deceitful. We can't blame Krishna. We have to blame ourselves, because we have not lifted ourselves to Krishna's level. It's not his fault. It is our fault. Understand? Instead saying Lord Krishna, if you describe his character and say, what do you think about this man? You will say he is very unreliable. He will say he is very untrustworthy. Therefore, to say that Krishna wanted war is wrong, because he never wanted the war. Why will he want? What you must understand is, if he wants the war, single-handedly he can do it all by himself. He doesn't need any big sena. He doesn't need any big army. Single-handedly he can do it. That is the power that is his power, the aggressive good intellect, he says. That is the power of that aggressive good intellect. And when it comes to the stories, which is what I actually wanted to say, when it comes to the stories, so many additions and so many deletions keep happening. Beyond the point, you actually don't know. Beyond the point, you really don't know what is the original story. And stories are meant to be like that. Stories are always meant to be like that. You can go on adding, you can keep adding something, you can keep deleting something, because there is no strict philosophy in that. For example, even forget Krishna, even the most consistent man, Rama, also in 2000 years changed it completely. If you read Rama in Valmiki, he is so completely different to the Rama that we are worshipping, today. He is so completely changed. In the sense, in Valmiki Ramayana, Rama had no problem eating. A Kshatriya living in forest for 14 years, he is not gone to picnic, no. He didn't go to picnic. He had no problems eating. He had no problems eating meat. Valmiki says Rama ate. 1000 years later, when society changed, Rama also changed. He changed. So very poetically, in the Kamba Ramayana, he says, when Guha offers him meat, he touches it. He doesn't eat it, but he touches it. Meaning, up to touching is allowed. Still he is considered divine, because up to touching is, but he didn't eat. In the 17th, 18th century, when Tulsidas created Rama, when Guha brought meat, he brought it covered, and when Rama opened it, it turned into a rose garland. Because according to him, Rama should not even see meat. You understand? Now, When you see all these three, nothing you will understand about Rama. But you will understand something about Valmiki, Tulsidas. You follow what I am saying? So they keep changing. In this Lakshman Rekha and all was not there in Valmiki, you know that, no? There was no Lakshman Rekha in Valmiki. Lakshman Rekha came somewhere in 19th century. There was no Lakshman Rekha. There was no Lakshman Rekha and all before that. Lakshmana drew one line and Ravana cannot. All this is a movie on the Kaprana. Our imagination started becoming very wild. Ravana drags Sita by how Sita gets abducted in Valmiki. Ravana drags her by her hair. He drags her by her hair and makes her sit on his lap and holds her tightly. That's how Sita was abducted. In Kamba Ramayana, along with the hut, Ravana, because Sita can't be touched. But Ravana can come and take, but Sita cannot be touched. It means what? It shows how human values have been changing. That's all. Nothing to do with Ramayana or Rama. Tulsidas says, according to Tulsidas, Ravana should not even see Sita. So, Ravana only captured Maya Sita, not the original Sita. Ravana didn't capture, and Rama lived with Maya Sita for 4 years. According to, correct? No. Who has read Tulsidas? யாருமே படிக்கலையா? அப்படின்னா ரொம்ப சௌகரியம். I can say whatever I want. You know, when Sita left, she had no ornaments on her. When Sita left, Kaikeyi said, you are not going on a picnic. Drop everything and go like a beggar. So Rama, Sita and Lakshmana left the palace like beggars. Where did Sita get so much of ornaments for Hanuman to go on all that? As they were doing their wanderings, they met that sage. What is that place? What is that place? Where they met the two wonderful couple, Atri and Anasuya. Not Anusaya, Anasuya it is. Yeah. Anasuya. And that lady, she is being a very powerful, she is a seer. She knew by her yogic power, she knew what's going to happen. So what she did, she took Sita inside and said, please come inside. I have never seen you in your marriage form. I have never seen you. I have some jewels. I want to ornament you and see you. For which she looked at Rama. Rama said, old lady, no. Please go and satisfy her wish. So, Sita went inside and Maya Sita came out. Because of her yogic power, she kept the original Sita with her and sent the Maya Sita. And during that Agni Pariksha, Maya Sita went inside the Agni and original Sita comes out. If you ask a question, from which Ramayana you are asking the question, it's very confusing because we do not know how the stories get so changed, and every generation keeps adding something, deleting something. That's where beyond a point we don't go into the details of the of the stories at all, because we really do not know which story we are you are talking. Because the original story you cannot take. The original Rama you cannot accept. Imagine Rama sitting and having meat. You know, quite a few times in Valmiki, Rama says, Lakshmana tells Rama, I found a beautiful young deer. I found a beautiful young deer and I killed it so that you can enjoy relishing the meat. You read that, you will not want to go. Yeah. Ramanavami, you will not want to celebrate after that. Yeah. Because vegetarian Rama is accepted. Non-vegetarian Rama is not. You follow what I am saying? Therefore, all these stories, beyond the point we really do not know which one is true, which one is where additions happen and deletions happen. But then, when it comes to Krishna, you can't add or delete anything, because he will not allow you to do that. Because he is the power of his personality, that the aggressive good intellect in him is so extraordinary that nothing can be added to him, nothing can be deleted from him. At the most you will say what? Worship him and maintain a distance. Worship him and maintain a distance from him. Even those who worshipped Krishna, if you see, they all took one aspect of his life. Very few can take Krishna completely. Surdas Krishna never grew up. His Krishna is always 3 years old. It's only Bala Krishna. Surdas cannot conceive of Krishna dancing with gopis. Surdas cannot conceive of Krishna fighting. He cannot. He cannot. Jayadeva's Krishna is only dancing with the gopis all the time. He cannot conceive of Krishna stealing butter. Krishna stealing butter looks very. You see the Krishna of Bhagavad Gita. You see the Krishna of Bhagavad Gita. The war. Man who sits and manipulates everything. You cannot accept. Once you are inspired by that Krishna, the Krishna of Rasalila looks very. You will say, you will not even want to talk about it. You will say, yeah, skip those pages. Skip those pages. And nevertheless, he stands far high. He stands far high. இவ்வளோ ஸ்டோரி சொன்னதுக்கு you have to understand the law, the philosophy. All great men come much ahead of their times. This is the law of life. Why it is like that we don't know, but it is. All great men come much ahead of their times. That generation can never accept them. That generation can never understand them. All the worshipping happens much later. Much later, because you need to evolve to understand that greatness. And Krishna came much ahead of his time. Therefore, Krishna utrungo. Let us not talk about Krishna. Let us not talk about him. Sahadeva has so much knowledge. He has no knowledge. Sahadeva has no knowledge. That knowledge that Sahadeva has is borrowed knowledge. Like we all have We all have knowledge. It's not that we do not know. It's not that we don't have knowledge. See, like for example, anyone in this classroom can talk for an hour non-stop, like I am talking, no? Anyone can talk. There is no, but then from outside it looks like he has knowledge. He has no knowledge. He has no knowledge. He has so much of borrowed knowledge. And anything borrowed is not authentic. It's not yours. It's not original. You understand? Therefore, to say Sahadeva has so much knowledge, Sahadeva has no knowledge. If he had an ounce of knowledge, he would have told all the other 4 brothers, what? First let us sit under the feet of this man Krishna and study and learn under him. Not to use him to solve our worldly problems. What these Pandavas were doing, is this knowledge? Will you call this knowledge? That's where Pandavas also have no, because they were also in touch with Krishna, but making use of Krishna for what? Not to sit under his feet and say, please teach us. They couldn't do that. Therefore, this is the proof to say Sahadeva also has no knowledge. You follow what I am saying? If they have had knowledge, what they would have done? What they would have done? Sat at his feet and asked him, please teach us. No Pandava brothers have, none of the Pandavas are able to do that. No. Arjuna does it because of the situation. Arjuna is more of a seeker because of a situation. The pain and suffering has driven him to seek temporarily, which is so completely different from the true seeker of knowledge. The true seeker of knowledge is fulfilled in relation to the world. He is not suffering by the world. World is not causing any pain and suffering to him. He has understood what world means nothing. It's not that the world is causing pain and suffering. Understand the difference between the seeker of knowledge and any other person. The seeker of knowledge doesn't seek the higher because he is frustrated with the world. He is failure. It's not that. He has understood what it is. He has understood it as futile. He has understood the futility of it, and that futility drives him to seek something higher. Then he is a seeker. He is ready to risk his life for that answer. He is ready to risk his life for that answer. Rest are all seeking, but they are not truly seeking knowledge. They are only seeking using the knowledge to solve their worldly problems. Like Ramana says, you will come to an enlightened master and you will not know what to ask him, he said. You will go to a master and you will not know what to ask him, because you are not yet a seeker. If you want to know a seeker, you should read Janaka. He is a seeker. If you want to know who is a seeker, you should read Janaka. He is a seeker. Yeah. He asked this question, no? Am I the king who dreamt as the beggar, or am I the beggar who is dreaming as a king? Everybody around him said, what kind of a question is this? Don't you know you are the king? Janaka said, no, I don't. And then the question was, and then it went around the world. And you can't give a textbook answer and escape to Janaka, because he is a seeker. He knows much more than, he has a greater depth than any ordinary. So he said, if any one of you give the wrong answer, you will be jailed. In a matter of 5 days, the country became free, because all the pandits, all the parrots got jailed. And Ashtavakra, the young boy, 14-year-old boy, saw the mother crying. He went to the mother and said, why are you crying? You know that father of yours went to answer the Janaka's question, and he is imprisoned because he gave a wrong answer. Yeah. Sunday morning class mari enna answer kuduthittu you cannot escape, because he is a seeker. He wants an authentic answer, and he knows whether it is an authentic answer or borrowed answer. Yeah, he knows the difference. Ashtavakra said, what question he asked? This is the question. Ashtavakra laughed. For this question father got imprisoned. I will go and release father. Don't worry mother, I will go and release father. And that father cursed him to become like this. And it's the father that cursed him to be like this. Yeah. Because he told his father, what you are doing is wrong. Yeah. He could not take that. And Ashtavakra goes to the court. The Ashtavakra, the physical feature of him is a comical sight. 8 twists in the body. Right leg in one direction, left leg in another direction. The way he walks itself is a comedy. So when he walked into that assembly, the whole assembly started laughing. And Janaka, the king, sitting on the throne, he felt so sorry for the young boy. When all the members in the assembly were laughing, Ashtavakra also started laughing. He also started laughing. Janaka got down from his throne, came to him and said, I can understand why these people are laughing. But I can't understand why are you laughing? He says, hey Janak, I am laughing at you, he said. I am laughing at you. 10 fellows took the sword out to kill him, because you don't talk to the king like that. Janaka said, wait, we are having a conversation. Why are you laughing at me? People say outside that you claim that you have an assembly full of wise men, and you have pride in your assembly because your assembly is full of wise men. You are a foolish man, Janaka, because your assembly is full of cobblers, he said. He said your assembly is full of cobblers. Cobblers, no, you understand? Who is a cobbler? Shoemaker. Your assembly is full of cobblers, he said. Furrow, because you don't go on. Janaka said, silence, wait. Why do you say, do you know anything about this these men? You are a small boy. You do not know you do not know anything about these men. Why are you calling them a cobbler? He said, you take a businessman, wherever he goes, he'll see business. You take an engineer, wherever he goes, he sees cracks down. He sees only that. You take a person who is interested in cooking, straight the person will walk into the kitchen. Where your attention is shows what type of a personality you are. And these people, attention is on my skin. Because when I walked in, they laughed at me because they saw my skin. And their entire attention is on the skin. Whose attention will be on the skin all the time? Whose attention will be on skin means leather. Whose attention? Cobblers. Therefore, I say, your assembly is full of cobblers. Janaka prostrated to him and said, looks like you are a wise man. Looks like you know the answer to my question. Please answer my question. Ashtavakra said, I will answer. But then conditions. Before, I sit above, you sit below. Upanishad it's called. That's why it's called Upanishad. I sit above, you sit below. And the highest seat is the throne. So he is saying, I will sit on the throne, you sit below. And beautiful is that narration. Because he can't climb the stairs to reach the throne. And what Janaka does, Janaka lifts him up, carries him and makes him sit on the throne. Now tell me answer to my question. He said second condition. First condition is over. What is give my second condition. Janaka said whatever it is. What is the second condition? Guru Dakshina first, he said. Pay my fees first. Janaka said, it is against the tradition because you teach, that's all. You don't take fees. You only teach. You understand? That is the tradition. Therefore, why are you asking for fees? Ashtavakra said, I do not know about your tradition and all. I have my own rules. Yeah, I have my own rules. That's all. You want to learn from me, follow my rule. Pay my Dakshina. And Janaka very politely asked, may I know why are you asking? He said, Janaka, what you don't understand is I am enlightened. The way I teach, you will become enlightened at the end of the discourse. After you become enlightened, we become equal. Therefore, whom are you going to pay? Dakshina. Pay your Dakshina right now. And Janaka said, given. Whatever you want is given. Tell me what you want as Guru Dakshina. Don't forget the seeker. You will have story, don't forget the seeker's background. Don't forget that. Ashtavakra asked, forget what I want. Tell me what do you have. Because I can't ask, forget what I want. What is it that you have, tell me. Then I will know whether I can ask you or not. And Janaka lists out what all he has. For everything that he listed out, Ashtavakra kept on saying, this is not This is not yours. This is not yours. This is not yours. This is not yours. Finally they came to I am not going into the whole discussion. The whole discussion pannamna sayangalam 5 mani aayidum. Yeah. Every question that he asked, and every time he kept on proving, this is not yours. This is not yours. This is not yours. Finally, Janaka got so stunned. He got so stunned. He screamed and said, he calls him Guru now. From, oh boy. He starts by saying, oh boy. Now he started calling him Acharya, Bhagavan. He started calling him Acharya. He started calling him Bhagavan. He says, I have understood only one thing. I have only ignorance. Except ignorance, I don't have anything. What else what can I do now? Ashtavakra said, give that ignorance. This is the seeker. Arjuna is not asking, I have only ignorance. He is not asking that. Arjuna is asking what? Arjuna is asking what? I want kingdom, Arjuna, but make me guilt free so that I can go back and enjoy. That's all Arjuna is asking. You follow what I am saying? If they have had knowledge, all the Pandava brothers would have sat under his feet like Janaka sat under Ashtavakra. Therefore, don't say Sahadeva has knowledge. He is as ignorant as anyone else. Avladana? Is it okay? The seeker has knowledge. Only the seeker has knowledge in the relative sense. What is the knowledge of the seeker? He is ignorant in nature, and he is so suffocated by that ignorance, and he is ready to risk his life for knowledge. That's the seeker. That's the seeker. Opposite of that is a person who wants to come in contact with the highest knowledge, the person who wants to come in contact with the divine for worldly benefits, which is going to describe in the 4th chapter. 4 types of seekers, he says, no? Artaha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani. And one in a generation is that Jnani type of seeker. For all practical purposes, you should say, he is the only one who has knowledge. Rest and all appear like knowledgeable, but only parrots. Parroting means they repeat, not knowing what they are saying. That's a parrot. Einstein wrote to his friend, and then he stopped talking on relativity after this incident. He wrote a letter to his friend. I have decided to stop talking. In that, he says, today I discovered something about humanity, he says. Today I discovered something about humanity, and it's frightening. What did he discover? Within quotes. A man can talk on a subject and yet not know a word of what he is talking. Einstein says, because he heard driver talking on relativity. If a driver can talk on relativity, now what is that? And the crowd doesn't know the difference between. In fact, driver became more popular than Einstein himself, because at least You need to lift yourself to listen to Einstein. You follow what I am saying? Who has knowledge? A seeker has knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of his ignorance. And that seeker will go to the master and asks, like the student asked in Mundaka Upanishad. What is that one knowledge? Knowing, I know everything. Very greedy question, he says. Yeah. Goes and says, tell me that Shaunaka goes to Angirasa and asks, tell me that one knowledge, knowing which I know everything. That is a seeker. He has knowledge. Rest are all aspiring to gain this knowledge. That's why he was not able to make the last journey, because he didn't have knowledge. If he had knowledge, why he has to wait for the last journey? He would have done it. He would have done it right away. Therefore, he had no knowledge. Nobody has knowledge. Memory people have. Memory is there. What is memory? You hear something so repeatedly, you can recall, you can repeat. And that repetition make you to believe you know it. And that repetition make you to believe you know it. Psychologically, how does it work? It works like this. As you are talking, please understand, as you are talking, you are not only talking, you are hearing what you are talking. That's why you fall in love with your own voice. Because you are, not only you are talking, you are hearing. So after a while what happens? You go on, you fall in love with your own talk. And when you have fallen in love with your own talk, you say, I know. At this point of time you say, I know. Because sometimes you look better than the original. Yeah. And imitations always appear better than the original. Because at least for the original you have to pay that much price. All the benefits and price is only 1/100th. What an intelligent man you are to do that. Yeah. And Buddha didn't have that. Buddha didn't have that intelligence. Ramatirtha didn't have that intelligence. They have to work. And here we can do it. So, even relatively they say, no. So same product, sir. Everything inside is the same. And the symbol da illa. You take that symbol out, it's worth only 4,000 rupees. How wise you are, where you can buy the best for 4,000 rupees. You go to a wise man, he says you are deluded, you are ignorant, because it doesn't work that way. Learn. Example, cheap and best. Either things are cheap or best. Both doesn't. Cheap and best doesn't go to, either it is cheap or it is best. Cheap and best, you will settle with the, if it is cheap and best, you will settle with the cheap only. Patri Gadela pay cheap and best our pena kudumona, he will give the pen that didn't get sold for 2 years. It will write only as long as it is inside this shop. When you come out, it stops working. How many pens I have bought like that? Yeah. So, sir, he will give. Abdina, I know, it didn't. It wasn't sold at all. Either it is cheap or it is best. Cheap and best doesn't go together, no. How can it go together? And you need clarity to see this. You need clarity to see this. A seeker has this clarity. A seeker has this clarity. In the ultimate sense, once you are enlightened, it's beyond clarity also. And we have no clue to what? We have no clue to what that state is. Even relatively speaking, the seeker alone has clarity. What is the clarity he has? He is so fulfilled in relation to the world. He is so complete in relation to the world. He is so fulfilled. In relation to the world, he is so complete. What does fulfillment in relation to the world means? He has understood nothing in the world can make him joyful or sorrowful. That is fulfillment. Again I repeat, a seeker is one who has found fulfillment in relation to the world. What is fulfillment in relation to the world means? He has understood nothing from the world can make him joyful or sorrowful. Then only it is fulfillment. It can give me only sorrow, na? We have not yet found fulfillment. Fulfillment in relation to wealth means what? Fulfillment in relation to wealth doesn't mean all the wealth is yours. It doesn't mean that. What is fulfillment in relation to wealth? Fulfillment in relation to wealth means with wealth or without wealth you are the same. Then you have found fulfillment. Because you have understood. Having wealth, there is no joy. And when it leaves, there is no sorrow. Relatively, he has understood that. Then comes the question, is there anything? Is there anything beyond all this? Is there anything beyond all this? Is there anything beyond joy and sorrow? Is there anything beyond this dvandvas, pairs of opposites? Is there anything beyond this world? That question makes him sleepless, disturbs him to a point where he is ready to risk his life for that. It's not just a casual inquiry. Clear? When you don't have anything else to do, tea and Mari biscuits you have and sit and talk. It's not that. You have sleepless nights. And when this question bothered Siddhartha, the prince walked out. And what the situation that he has to walk out? What was the situation under which he has to walk out? Newborn son. And the charioteer tempting him. Don't you at least want to see your son's face? Go, but at least see his face once. No. Buddha said, so many times in the past I have done this and I get stuck permanently. I am not going to do this. No, he said, I have done this many a times in the past. Last time I will. One last look. I turn, I am stuck. I get stuck forever. I am not going to do this again. That's the seeker. That's the seeker. For all practical purposes, the scripture becomes so valuable because of the intensity of the seekers. As far as the master is concerned, the answer is the same. Answer is the same. As far as the master is concerned, he is enlightened, his answer is the same. But what makes the difference in the text? Not the quality of the master. Please understand. It's the quality of the seeker. It's the quality of the question. It's the quality of the question which implies seeking. There is no difference between Ashtavakra and Krishna. Both are saying the same thing. That is an Upanishad. This is Bhagavad Gita. What is the difference? Not because of the quality of the teacher is the same, but what makes the difference? The seeker makes the difference. The question makes all the difference. And to ask that question, you need so much of reflection. To ask that one question, you need so much of study and reflection. In this classroom, we are trying to prepare ourselves to ask that. It's not that we are not providing answer to that question here. In this classroom, we are aspiring to ask that question one day, and that day you get the answer. Till that time, we need to keep hearing it again and again. Till that time, you have to keep hearing it again and again and again. Therefore, don't say Sahadeva has knowledge. Only a seeker has knowledge. Non-seekers don't have knowledge, and they should aspire to become seeker. And the seeker aspires for enlightenment. Non-ignorant person has to aspire first to become a seeker, and the seeker aspires for enlightenment. Today, they straight away want to jump to, I want enlightenment. How can you get when you are not even seeking it? First turn into a seeker. Turning into a seeker means readiness to risk your life or this. Readiness to risk. And you can artificially practice all that. The only advantage with this is you cannot artificially practice all this. Either you have it or you can aspire, you can work towards developing it. Is it okay? Rashekar.
व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा आतराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाहमहीपते.
Then, seeing Dhritarashtra's host standing arrayed, ready to operate the weapons, Pandava, with the monkey ensign, taking up his bow, said these words to Hrishikesha, O Lord of Earth. Verses 20-21 is read combined because it's a continuation of the same verse. Seeing what has happened? The drums the conches have been blown, frenzied has been whipped up, and any moment arrows will start flying. Any moment arrows will start flying. The war has, for all practical purposes, the war has started. Now that the war has started, Pandava, Arjuna, with the monkey ensign, it's a description of the flag. Arjuna in the chariot had a flag, Hanuman, monkey ensign. Sitting in that chariot, he tells Hrishikesha whatever he is going to say. 21 and 22 together.
Arjuna uvacha सेनयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेषुता यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे
Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna starts. All along Sanjaya has been, Dhritarashtra started, Sanjaya continued. Now Arjuna says, place my chariot between the two armies, O Achyuta, that I may see thee standing desirous to fight. With whom all I must fight in this outbreaking battle. Rana Samudhya. Outbreaking battle means is going to be a the violence is going to start, the killing is going to happen, and I want to see those who are desirous to fight. Therefore, place my chariot between the two armies. From now on, carefully follow the psychology, the mind of Arjuna. Follow the mind of Arjuna. Starting with a very clear understanding, conviction, knowing what he is going to do, well prepared, everything. A small one word that Krishna is going to say. One word. That's all. He's going to change the entire complexion. Because Arjuna doesn't start with crying. He starts with what? He starts with his clarity. Place my chariot between the two armies. Therefore, I want to see so that I can plan, so that we can finish off the battle today itself. And one day we will finish off the battle and go back. With that enthusiasm, with that spirit, with that conviction, he is starting. Carefully follow the mind. Carefully follow the mind of Arjuna. In that Arjuna's mind, you can see the reflections of your mind. That's why we are not interested in Arjuna's mind. Otherwise it is gossiping. Yeah. We are not concerned about what is happening. In that flow, somewhere you can see the reflections of your own mind. The starting point of Arjuna. 23 padi. I observe those who are assembled here to fight, wishing to please in battle the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. The contempt he is having for, he's so frustrated. That's why he is not even able to say Duryodhana. He has to say evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Yeah. It means he is displaying his contempt. He is displaying his anger. He is seeing them as his enemy. That's why he is displaying that evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Not only Dhritarashtra, all those who are assembled to please him, fight for his sake. If he is evil-minded, now all those who are fighting for him is also evil-minded. No, that's what he is. That's what he is actually seeing. First he said, place my chariot in between the two armies, so that I can see, so that I can know. Well, continuing, I observe, and he is observing. What is observing? What is observing? Straight his eyes goes to straight. He is observing the army, and his eyes goes straight to Duryodhana. You see what you want to see. You hear what you want to hear. You don't see the reality. You don't hear the truth. You see what? You always see what you want to see. Follow that. Follow the sequence of Arjuna. He's he's seeing whom? Evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Yeah. Father is blind, son is also equally. Actually, that's what he's saying. Father is, that uncle of mine is blind, his son is also equally blind. Not only he is blind, there are so many blind people willing to please him. Krishna, I am going to finish them off. I am going to finish every one of them, because all are my enemies. All are my enemies. Verses 24 and 25.
Sanjaya uvacha eva mukto rishikeshaha Gudakeshena bharata senayorubhayor madhye apayitparatottamam Bhishma Drona pramukataha sarvesham tamahikhitam uvacha partha pashyaitan samavetan kuru nidhi.
Sanjaya says, thus addressed by Gudakesha, Hrishikesha, O Bharata, having drawn up the best of chariots between the two armies, in front of Bhishma, Drona, and all the rulers of the earth, said, O Partha, behold these Kurus gathered together. That's all. This word changed the entire complexion. I'll explain. Arjuna is saying, I am seeing enemies. Krishna is saying, where are the enemies? It's only your own family, he is saying. Kurus means the common name for Pandavas and Kauravas is the Kuru. Saying, look at the Kurus assembled here, Arjuna. Yeah. Ippo it looks like almost Krishna wanted the war. Yeah. Ippo it looks like almost Krishna wanted the war. First indicator. If Krishna placed the chariot in front of Duryodhana, fight would have started. No Gita, no nothing. He didn't place the chariot in front of Duryodhana. He planted the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. He said, look at them. Are they your enemies? Look at them. Are they your enemies? Okay, even others whom you call as enemies are all your. Now you should see the next verse that he is going to say. From the enemies, the whole complexion changes. That's where these 6 verses you have to read one after the other at a speed. Therefore you can understand the shift. Arjuna is saying, evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra, enemies, I am seeing enemies. Krishna, please, let's get ready for the battle. Krishna is saying, no, enemies in Ray. Where are the enemies? I can't see any enemy. I can only see your own. I can see only your families. All over the place, only your families. Look at the Kurus assembled here. From the enemy, Arjuna starts seeing. 26-27 padinga. then the flow becomes easy to follow.
तत्रा पश्यस्थितान् पार्थः विगृह्णसपितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखीन् तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि.
There Partha saw standing. Who he saw standing? Fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, comrades, fathers-in-law, and friends also, in both the armies. He confused him unnecessarily. Yeah. Arjuna was very clear. Enemies are there. Let us start the fight. Yeah. Krishna wanted to give a discourse. Yeah. He wanted to give a discourse, so he started. Where are the enemies? I'm only seeing your family in Odane. What Arjuna is seeing now? All those. Now who are those standing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra? Who are they? First, fathers, grandfathers, teachers, uncles. There's no relationship. All relationships got bundled in one battlefield, and such a blessing to the society, because everyone gets wiped off at the same time. The whole lot gets wiped off. One by one. Why do you have to eliminate? Who are they? From what he thought as clarity, he was not clear. It looked like he is very clear, but he was not clear. And Krishna knows that. What he would have done, halfway through the battle he would have ran away. And how can he do that? Therefore, first lesson of Krishna. Wonderful is that lesson. First he places the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. If he is a sensible man, he should have planted in front of Duryodhana. Duryodhana front, no talk, no nothing. So I should have planted them in front of Bhishma and Drona, telling him what? Telling him, Arjuna, you have to fight, but keep these two as the role models to fight. Because these two have nothing to do with this. These two have nothing to do with this battle, because they are not going to gain anything nor lose anything. But why are they risking their life? Standing here. Why are they standing here? Why are they standing there? That's what they ought to do. Even at the point of death, you have to do that which you ought to do. That is Bhishma and Arjuna. You might die, you might become victorious. We do not know what's going to happen. But at least fight with sincerity. Fight with dedication. Like these two men are going to. Don't fight for kingdom. Fight because you have to fight. All that he wanted to say, he has said it so poetically, by placing the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. Why this Bhishma and Drona? There is all those stories already about Bhishma and Drona. So you know why Krishna placed Arjuna in front of. Even at the point of death, you have to do that which you ought to do. That shows your character. Opposite of that is, like Churchill said, every man has a price. Find that man's price and pay. Because everybody can be bought. What Churchill is saying is what? Every human being can be bought, because everyone has a price tag. If one, I might not fall for 100 rupees, but I might fall for 100,000 rupees. I might not fall for 100,000 rupees, but I might fall for 1 crore. Maybe I might fall, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I might fall also, who knows. And Churchill has never seen in his life, there are people who are priceless, where they will not sell themselves for, even at the point of death, they will do what they ought to do and they move on. And these two are symbolic of that. Which two? Bhishma and Drona. Take them as an example and fight. Either you will kill or you will get killed. These are the only two possibilities. But running away is what? Coward. Running away is a coward. Either you will kill or you will get killed. That is much better, Arjuna, than running away from being a coward. And these two are standing, fighting. You also emulate them and fight. And fight whom? This is the fight. In life, you don't fight with enemies. In life, you always fight with this list only. Have you ever fought with all those who have caused pain? All those whom you have fought, if you carefully see, will be someone from this list only. Go back and look at your own. Those who have caused pain, those whom you have fought, you will never find anyone from. A stranger will never do that. Whom do you fight with? Who causes pain to you? Someone from this. Always it will be someone from this list. Therefore, in life you don't fight with enemies. In life you fight with your own people. Your own people, unnecessarily you won't get attached by saying them mine, and you fight with that mineness. You follow? Unnecessarily you go get attached, saying them as mine, and you are fighting with what? Mine. Friends. You are fighting with your friend. Clear? He turns into an enemy. Okay. Understand it like that. Who is your enemy today? Who was your friend yesterday? No. You can't. Can you develop enmity straight away? You can't develop enmity straight away. You understand that? If someone you say this is my enemy, this man was your friend yesterday. That friend yesterday has turned into an enemy today. That enemy of today is going to turn into a friend tomorrow. Endlessly it keeps. You follow? Whom you call as your enemy was your friend yesterday. Yesterday you got carried away by that. You got attached by saying my friend. Now you are getting carried away by what is happening today, and you are saying my enemy. In fact, you have a deeper bondage with your enemy. The way that they can torture you, the way that they can trouble you. Friends can't trouble you. Patti, or pere soladingo. The name itself causes turbulence. அவருக்கு யாரோ டர்புலன்ஸ் கொடுக்குறாங்க ஆர்கேக்கு இல்லையா. நேம் இட் செல்ஃப் இஸ் கிவிங் டர்புலன்ஸ். யூ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட்? Therefore in life you don't fight with all that you call as enemies. At one point of time you had a relationship, something went wrong and you are fighting now. Arjuna, don't fight like that. Fight like Bhishma and Drona. They never had any wrong relationship. Beautiful is the starting point of Krishna. Even if he does anything symbolically now, it's so profound. Look at the list: fathers, grandfathers, grandsons. Arjuna is a grandfather. That's why he is able to see grandson. Because there are grandsons fighting now. He himself is a grandfather. Arjuna himself is a grandfather, and he is seeing grandfathers. Now, how many generations are there? Yeah. One generation of fight doesn't stop. It carries over into. Yeah, it doesn't stop. It carries over. Yeah. Parambara Vairi sir. Yeah. For generations, one grandfather got drunk and fought with another grandfather in the drunken state, and they still fight. Have to teach them a lesson by not inviting them. In fact, you are torturing people by inviting only. If you don't invite, they are very happy. Look at the flow of Arjuna's mind. How the fall happened so fast, so rapidly. It means what? He was always gullible for one situation is enough to. It means what? All the strength and valor that Arjuna displayed all along is not real strength, because one word can upset the whole thing. What is that one word? Look at the Kurus assembled here. That's all he said. He didn't say, look at the enemies assembled here. Sunday morning we all would have been free. Sunday morning would have been free. Or Gita class ukarnunga thevai irundhukku. But then he said, look at the Kurus. The moment he said that, immediately what Arjuna starts seeing? Fathers, grandfathers, friends, all combined as where he saw in both the armies. Not only in that army, he saw that that's the clue. He saw that in both the armies he saw. Where Arjuna, moment he is fallen, after that, the fallen man, how he will talk. The fallen man, the ignorant man, how he will talk. From now on you will listen to Arjuna's talk, and you will know exactly how a fallen man talks. How the man of ignorance, the man who has fallen into what? Vishada. That's why this chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. He has fallen into that despondency. Out of that despondency, the man speaks. You listen to all the speech and then see all the conversations that people have is only despondent talk. Yeah. This man talks about his sorrow and suffering. Other is waiting for this man to stop so that he can start. To such a mind, Krishna must be having much more compassion to talk Gita to To talk Gita to such a mind, Krishna starts. அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட் கிடையாது, சண்டேக்கு மட்டும் அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்டே கிடையாது. வந்துட்டு எம்டி ஆளையாவது பார்த்து திரும்பி போடணும். We'll tell her to. We will not cancel. ஆமா, rest are all cancel. நானே சொல்லிட்டேன். எப்போ வரைக்கும்? think 2 Sundays, next and following Sunday வரைக்கும் all are cancel. அது நானே அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன் எல்லாத்தையும். Even in that